Greetings everyone, Master Grogan here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So it's been a little while since I've done a Facebook Live, and to be honest with you, I've fallen behind on my podcast and a few other things. So I thought the best thing to do was, well, get back on here and do it. I don't know, everybody has their strengths, everybody has obviously their weaknesses and areas they excel at. I call it your zone of genius. And mine, where I feel the most comfortable, is doing what I'm doing right now. Doing these Facebook Lives and doing videos and on stage, giving speeches and presentations and workshops and empowering people, and of course through the podcast as well. But I titled this video, and we're turning this into a podcast as well, is how do you stop a drift? And what is a drift? Well, a drift is what just happened to me. And well, hello, Terry. How are you? Thanks for saying hi. As always, when you pop on here, always say hi. I do appreciate it, and I'll do my best to say hi back. But a drift is when your why. What is your why? Your why is your purpose, your mission, your not only your goals, but what you're put on this planet to do. And when you're following your why, boy, you're staying on that straight and narrow, that path. Sort of like if you type in your GPS that you're going to, I don't know, take a trip to Florida. Well, of course, you type it in there and the GPS guides you where to go. And if you get off track, the GPS will let you know at this next, do a U-turn or take this next exit to get back on track, right? Well, the GPS helps keep us from drifting too far off, because if we drift too far off the path, well, what happens is the further we drift off, if we're taking a trip, well, we're going to make that trip even longer, right? Obviously, every time we stop on a trip to for a bathroom break or to grab lunch or to fill up the car, if those take, and if you've got a family, we know they take a little while, right? You can't just pull over, fill up the tank, and get going. Everybody's got to use the restroom, and then you got to get drinks, and you got to get snacks and road trip food and all those other things, and before you know it, a simple little 10-minute pit stops now turned into a half an hour, right? So we could call that a drift if you want. But the drift I'm talking about is and I'm just being open and transparent and as humble as possible. I got a little tied up too much into kind of the political realm and too much of the Facebook negativity that happens there, and I drifted, baby. And the reason I love doing these things and reason I love being as transparent and open, one, I hope you're able to connect with me a little bit more, but also it's to say, look, man, we're all human. These things happen. They really, really do. Now, some of my I guess people in the past would let me know that, Master Grogan, you can't ever admit fault. You can't ever admit you've done things wrong. You can't ever admit that you're not the master. And I used to buy into that stuff. Garbage, I'll call it. And Charles, how we doing, sir? Thank you very much for saying hi. And, it was more, the more that was fed into my mind, of course, the more my ego grew. And ego is an acronym. I like to think it's an acronym for edging God out or edging greatness out. And the bigger and stronger your ego is, well, then of course that's going to fight off the humility. Now, our number one black belt principle at the Martial Arts Academy is humility, keeping an open mind, willing to learn from everybody. So back to the drift. Think about back to the highway. What do you have on overpasses and bridges? You have guardrails, right? Yeah, and the guardrails keep you from drifting too far off, because you hit the guardrail, you bounce back on. And that's what a good coach, a good mentor does. And without that, before you know it, you're drifted off. While I'm sharing this with you, how do you stop a drift? Well, one, you have to acknowledge it. And sometimes it's almost as if you got to break the matrix, so to speak. And that's almost what I had to do. I was finding myself spending more time on social media than I ever have before. I don't know how it happened. I mean, it almost became a little bit of an addiction. I mean, I'm just being honest. Now, I've got a little bit of ADD, ADHD, and OCD, and I like to say I specialize in the Ds. A lot of times people would come in and say, hey, my son or daughter's got ADD and ADHD and some OCD. Are you able to help with that? I'm like, I specialize in the Ds because I have that myself. But with that being said, it's the same thing when I'm working on, like with my books and working on putting together different presentations. I get so locked in, which is a good thing. You want to get locked in, you want to get focused, and but oftentimes it can be your greatest strength, can also be your greatest weakness. And that's kind of what happened, with that locked in, never wanting to lose a battle, which knowing I can't win battles on social media, what the heck am I doing? I tell you folks not to do that all the time, and here I'm doing it. What in the world? Anyway, I got kind of locked in on the wrong thing and was spending, as I mentioned, way too much time on social media. And my posts weren't, and in my heart, our brand, Grogan's Bullyproof and Kickin Life. The Bullyproof is empowering you to believe in yourself with a hope and a self-confidence, to overcome your challenges, battle through your fears, to stand up to any bully you face, both real and in your mind. Don't cower. Don't live your life paranoid. Don't live your life in fear. That's the Bullyproof. The Kickin Life, that's the part is, man, once you've got that hope, that self-confidence, you overcame those battles. Doesn't mean you're not going to face another one, but the Kickin Life is you've conditioned yourself to get back up each and every time life's knocked your butt down. Bang, it's hit you with a right hook of reality, or boom, left uppercut of truth. It's dropped you. And I promise you, nothing hits harder than life. And sometimes it just keeps hitting you and keeps hitting you and keeps hitting you. Well, got that hope and self-confidence, and each time you get back up, doesn't mean it's going to be any easier, but you're going to develop those perseverance muscles to get back up. And then the Kickin Life part is, instead of life kicking your butt, man, now you're kicking life's butt. And you're living the life you were born to live. That's a Kickin Life. You're kicking butt, cashing checks, taking names, baby, getting back up and having that positive energy. And then you're empowering others with your energy, your excitement, your inspiration, your motivation, what you've done. People see that and they feel that. So that's why the Grogan's Bullyproof and Kickin Life, the Kickin Life is just as important. Matter of fact, for the longest time, it was Grogan's Martial Arts and Kickin Life. But I wanted to add the Bullyproof in there, and then of course Kickin Life kind of faded off. I'm like, now something's not right. Got to have that balance, right? So that's why the Kickin Life is so important. But I had kind of forgotten the Kickin Life. I was so focused on the Bullyproof, which is good, want to empower people, and people hear me talk all the time, and this hasn't changed. My goodness, as long as I can remember. I think I've been doing video blogs now for 2013. What is that? 8 years now. And how that started, people ask all the time, how do you do video blogs? Well, you got this thing, this phone, right? Everybody's got it. Just do it. And your first 100 or so may not be the best, but they will get better. But anyway, my point I was going to, once again, I just drifted, didn't I? I have a tendency to do that. Woo, squirrel! And I drift off the path. But what I call the mainstream media, I call them the devil's workshop, and I've mentioned, my gosh, well over a decade now, so it's not something new. But the devil's workshop, in my opinion, has gotten worse and stronger with the influence they have on people. And to be honest with you, I got sucked into it too, because I was being so combative against the devil's workshop, so to speak, saying, they're promoting fear, and obviously with the pandemic and with the scare tactics and just scaring the heck out of everybody. Now, I'm not saying that it's not real. It is. But what I'm saying is the fear mongers in the media, if it bleeds, it leads. That's an old tagline for the media. They're all focused on gloom, doom, death, and destruction and fear and pandemonium. That's what sells. Because when people are uptight and scared to death, they got to watch more. They got to watch more. Why? Because, well, maybe, oh my gosh, I may miss something here. And when you're in a fear-stricken state, and I've talked about this a lot before, you've got this chemical in your body in your mind called cortisol. And cortisol is your fight or flight chemical, right? It's all about giving you that extra strength, that extra energy, that extra in case you had to fight yourself way out of a dangerous situation. Kind of way back in the prehistoric days, caveman's walking along and they look behind a bush and a saber-toothed tiger jumps out at them. Well, their body's immediately flooded with cortisol because now they got to either fight the tiger or run like heck to be safe and avoid the tiger. Now, here's the deal. Cortisol is very important. It gives you that extra strength, that extra energy, that extra to defend yourself in a dangerous situation. However, when cortisol is pumping through your veins, other parts of your body, your systems shut down. Your immune system shuts down. Yeah, your digestive system shuts down. Your growth system shuts down. Like growing, your hair grows and fingernails grow, and your body's natural, let's see what I'm trying to say here. Its natural state is pretty much shut down so you can focus on surviving that saber-toothed tiger. Well, our mind and the cortisol hasn't changed that much over the years. But what has changed is the amount of cortisol that's constantly being pumped through our body. So like I said, when it's being pumped through, immune system shuts down. Of course, you need your immune system to stay healthy, right? Your digestive system shuts down. Now, your digestive system, you need to digest the foods that you've eaten properly. If not, you get all bowed up, right? And then you become cranky, then you become angry, and then, of course, more cortisol is released. And here's the thing that with the cortisol, the only way to flush it out is through exercise. So if you're out running that saber-toothed tiger, you got the extra energy, but you're also flushing that cortisol out. And then, of course, you got the endorphins, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, your what I call your core 4 feel-good chemicals that your body produces naturally. Now, cortisol is important. It is. However, it's important to do its job and then get flushed out, not to stay in that panic state. Well, the news and the media keeps you in that panic state. And, of course, once again, when your immune system is down, you can't fight off disease. You can't fight off infections. You can't fight off what's going on now. So back to kind of the whole point of this video, and this, like I mentioned, it'll be a podcast that'll air sometime next week, is if you don't watch it and you start to drift, and before you know it, like I said, a little OCD on my end here, I'm spending literally hours on social media. What in the heck? How did that happen? I'll look at my screen time, which I track, and I'm like, there is no way I spent that much time. Well, it's not like the screen's lying to me. It's just you get so locked in. The matrix sucks you in, and you can't get out of it. And before you know it, what you feed your mind, what you focus on magnifies. What you think about all the time is what you're going to concentrate on. And there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is your filter. It filters out. The person has on average anywhere from 80 to possibly, if you're pretty hyperactive, 120,000 thoughts a day. Now, you'd go nuts trying to focus on all those thoughts. What the reticular activating system does, it filters literally out anything and everything that doesn't serve your greatest purpose. Now, here's the deal on that. It's not biased in any way. And when I say serves your greatest purpose, it gives you what you want the most of. In other words, if you think, oh my gosh, all I get is negative comments, all I get is this and that, all I see is the negativity in the news, your reticular activating system is going to say, hey, that's what Rich wants. Let's give more to him. And it does. And on the other side, you know, what you look for, you'll surely find. I read whatever he did. Oh, yeah, that's in the Bible. And but the same token. Now, that doesn't mean just because you see all well, I want you to focus on the beauty, but I also want you to realize the world is not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some ugly, ugly things out there, and there are some evil people out there. There really are, but there's a lot of good going on as well. Now, my point is not to be naive, not to live in unicorn land with all sunshine and rainbows, but then again, don't allow yourself to get sucked into that matrix of negativity, that the world's going to hell in a handbasket and it's all going downhill. Now, I'm a realist, and the reason I spent so much time and actually got so engaged and drifted off is because I feel what the media is doing to us right now is flat out bullying. It's bullying us, it's bullying our kids, which is what gets me the most. I mean, adults, we can fend for ourselves. I, too, try and empower and encourage adults by doing what I'm doing now and over the past who knows how many years with not only martial arts, but coaching and everything else, trying to empower adults just to think, believe in themselves. But the kids is what really bothers me. When kids are being manipulated by the media, when the kids are being, and I feel the bullies on the playground, nothing compared to the bullying that's going on in our kids' minds from society. Yeah, and it's about doggone time we stop society from bullying our kids. Now, I don't want to drift too far off going down that path, but that's what kind of caused me to drift. Because, you know what, in my heart here, I'm nothing but a big kid. I really, really am. And when your heart gets hurt, gosh darn it, you want to lash out and fight back. Now, yes, I should be bigger than that. I should be better than that. I should. But I got locked in on one thing, which caused me to drift away from my path of empowering people with the bullyproof and the Kickin Life. All I was focused on was, gosh darn it, I'm hurt. Now, gosh darn it, I'm going to do what I can to make sure somebody else doesn't get hurt. Well, I got to realize that I can only do so much. I cannot control what other people think, believe, or feel. Now, I can try and empower them. And that's why a big part of the bullyproof message is think. You know, I talk about that a lot, is the old smell test. The smell test is if it doesn't smell right, it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't taste right. Gosh darn it, it's probably not right. An example I give all the time is milk. If you pull the milk out of the refrigerator and it's clumpy and that expiration date's 4 days ago, you know what? That's a pretty good sign. It doesn't sound right. Doesn't look, the date doesn't look right. But if you want to smell it, oh my gosh. Now, if you want to go a step further and actually taste it, well, that kind of fits all the categories, checks all the boxes, right? Doesn't look right, doesn't taste right, doesn't smell right, doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, it ain't right. Well, that's what I'm talking about with a lot of things going on in the world today. You know, we've all got common sense. And a lot of times we bully ourselves by not using that common sense. Now, I'm not getting on to you because I wasn't using a whole lot of common sense that allowed me to drift off my path, my purpose of empowering people and giving them and doing what I was put on this planet to do. And I feel in my heart this is what it is. You know, my books, quick update on the books. I've got the book I wrote with Tom Ziglar, Road Trip, is out. I don't have it available on my website just yet. You know, and I'm going to tease you. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to. Here it is. Dun, 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 dun. And there's me and Tom on the back. Okay, so it's not available just yet. I'm actually headed back to Illinois on tomorrow, Friday, and we got Black Belt Promotions. Got a Christmas party at the studio, and what am I going to say here? And so I'll be back with some of the books, but they're not available for sale just yet. I'm working on that, but probably shouldn't even showed you. But there they are. And my other book, Becoming Bullyproof, is it's in proof edit now, so it's wrapping up. And I got 2 other surprises for you that I've been working on in the background when I wasn't drifting, and we'll get some information on that available as well, and that'll all be available on the website on the Grogan's Bullyproof pages. And I'm going to do my best now to not drift anymore, so I can stay focused and set those. And here's my little message to you: set those alerts on your phone. Only give yourself, you know, and of course I've got it 15 minutes, and then I get the alert. Okay, you've run out of Facebook time, but you can always cheat and override that. Shame on me for doing it. But just being honest, that's some of the things I've done. Terry asked about squarepegroundhole. You got a great memory, Terry. That book is kind of shelved for a little bit. Writing coach and publicist and a few other coaches that I'm working with said, let's hold off on that one for the time being. Let's focus on the Bullyproof brand and get the books out with that first, and then we'll circle back to Square Peg Round Hole. So thank you for asking about that. I've been working on that. That's what's kind of started this all 7-8 years ago, was a book called Square Peg Round Hole that Terry's referring to. So thanks, Terry. And the book with Tom Ziglar here, and this is kind of a surprise. I teased a few folks with it, but this just kind of came out of nowhere. And Tom and I worked on that for the last 4 months, and we got it done. And it's a little guidebook meant to carry around in your pocket, so you have it. It's about 48 pages long, and there it is. But that'll be available soon. I hate to tease you like that, but that's it. If you're in the Illinois area by the studio in Edwardsville, I'll have copies there when I fly back on Friday, and I'll have some autographed copies there. And other friends that I promise books to humbly remind me. I oftentimes forget, especially when I have a tendency to drift off the path, but I'm going to do my best to stay on that path again. And thanks for all the follows. Where can I buy one? Terry, you're too much. Do this for me. Send me a Facebook message, a private Facebook message, and list your address, and I'll give you an autographed copy for free, just for being so awesome. So do that. And if anybody else wants one too, I'll do that as well. So just a private Facebook message, leave your address, and obviously the full spelling of your name there, and I'll customize it to you and zip it off to you in the next couple weeks. All right, so drift. How do you stop the drift? I don't know if I covered that or not. Hopefully I did. But how you stop the drift is that personal discipline. Or, you know what I did? I actually reached out to one of my mentors and said, you know, I kind of feel like I've been drifting a little bit. And he goes, you think? More than just a little bit. He goes, I was about to say something. I'm like, oh, man. And it's, I definitely, feel in my heart that I'm doing the right thing to empower people. But if I'm going so far that I'm turning people off, then that's not my intent. That's not my purpose. That's not what I was put on this planet to do. It's to empower people, but I can't think for them, and I can't bang their head in the wall because maybe they have a different belief or different thought system or process than I do, and I've got to do a better job of realizing that. But like I said, my heart goes out, especially when a kid's involved, and I feel kids are being bullied and manipulated by society and by the gosh darn media. That's what gets my blood boiling. Urgh! But I also got to realize that I've got to come at it with what I do best in the bullyproof and kicking life approach, empowering people to make the decisions for themselves. Especially if somebody figures something out on their own, then it's going to be more meaningful anyway. So instead of me trying to be the hero of their lives, I need to be more of the guide, which, by the way, is a big part of becoming bullyproof. The last rewrite is how that came about. And bullyproof, becoming bullyproof, those may be listening for the first time, is a story of me as a 12-year-old meeting me as Master Grogan 40 years later, and we go on a journey together. And initially, it was the older me being the hero to the younger me, which I thought that's the way it should be, right? I'm the hero that I never had. Well, after doing some research, after reading, after working with writing coaches and mentors and other coaches, the example that was given to me from a book called Story Brand by Donald Miller, great book, by the way, if you want to check that baby out, Story Brand by Donald Miller, he had mentioned that oftentimes we confuse, and he used the example of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. He said oftentimes it's perceived that Obi-Wan Kenobi was Luke Skywalker's hero, but nothing could be further from the truth. He said Obi-Wan Kenobi was already a hero of his own life. He had already overcome his challenges and battled through his fears and become his own hero. He now became the guide for Luke to become his own hero. So all Obi did was guide Luke along the paths, but Luke had to have that self-discovery. Luke had to figure it out on his own with the guidance of Obi so he could become his own hero. And I'm like, oh my gosh, mind's exploding here. And so we've totally rewrote the Becoming Bullyproof book. That's why it's taken so long to write, because one, I'm a guy that barely graduated high school, and here I'm writing several books. But I feel in my heart it's the right thing to do. But we'll stay at it and get it right. So anyway, we revamped the book where now the older me is simply there guiding the younger me to become the hero that I always wished I was. And I'm hopeful that the readers, and it's written for ages 9 to 14, but also obviously I would love adults and parents to read it as well, and kind of not only, I don't say buy into the philosophy, but just see how the messages, how the lessons, how the mentorship and the guiding takes place in that, and have your kids read it, and you can use that as an analogy as well, the stories as an analogy that fits your life to help your kids out as well. So anyway, the older me now is nothing but a guide for the younger me to discover my own heroism, if you will, as a young kid. So my goal is with the kids reading it is they can see themselves in the younger me, and therefore they can be in the story, and their own life is Luke is the, Logan. Drift. Logan is the younger me, and then the older me is Master Joe or Uncle Joe. And I chose those two names because I was talking about Luke earlier, but Logan and Joe, because I don't know anybody by those names, so that was kind of I have no affiliation with those names. That's why I chose those names. But anyway, all right, I'm drifting again, boop boop, all over the place. Well, as always, thank you so very much for listening, for tuning in, and thanks for sticking with me during my little bit of lapse of time. I'm going to start doing these definitely more often. I've got a couple other big things coming up that I don't have all the details worked out just yet, but it's my goal to really focus 100% on the Grogan's Bullyproof and Kickin Life brand. Now, of course, if you're in the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon area, hey, Troy, how you doing, buddy? Our Martial Arts Academy is still going strong. We're open, and we are not closing down. Masks are optional. It's your personal preference. I know the state of Illinois has a mask mandate. Well, I think we live in a free country, and it's your choice. So you do what you do you. If you don't want to wear it, don't wear it. I'm going back, and I won't be wearing a mask. So it may turn some people off, but I believe that's standing up for what I believe in, and that's what we're doing. But the Academy is running strong. We're doing great. Master Wilkening is running things. We still own it, but he's doing a great job of continuing with classes and continue to move along. So if you're in the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, surrounding areas, please stop in for a class and follow our Grogan's Martial Arts page. for martial arts classes, the Grogan's Bullyproof and Kickin Life group and page. And of course the YouTube channel, I'm going to start doing a little more work on that as well. I'll add this video to the YouTube mix, and it's also Grogan's Bullyproof. And what else? Of course the podcast. Got 284 episodes, I believe. So this will be probably 285, 286. Depends on how it falls in line with the producers when I send it over there. All right, folks. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for the likes, the loves, the follows. Thanks for asking about the book. Terry and a few other friends popped up that I may have missed. I think I saw Sabina Man's up there a little bit there. Yep, good thing you didn't step in it. Yeah, thank you, Sabina. Always love you, sir. You know that. Hope to see you soon. And other friends popped on. Anytime you pop on, don't be afraid to say hi, okay? All right. Well, that's all I got for you. Thank you so very much. God bless you too, Terry. Thank you. And like I said, Terry and anybody else, just go on private Facebook message. Is that what it's called? Private Facebook message. And I'll personally autograph a book and get it out to you in the next couple weeks. All right, folks. I love you. God loves you. Please share that love with the world. And until we talk again, you get out there and do your best at not drifting. And if you do drift, do your best at getting back on track. Because boy, that drift, before you know it, you're out there. And then, of course, it's harder and harder to get back. So get out there and do your best, and I promise you'll be your very best. You'll become bully-proof, and you'll live your best kick in life. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. Thank you so very much. Have a blessed day. And if I don't get a chance to talk to you again, have a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and any other holiday that you may celebrate. I celebrate Christmas. God bless. Bye-bye.